getting there. Alrighty.
All right.
And we're live.
Ooh,
Playing this.
I fired up.
Welcome to Earl and the Idiot, the show that gives you the answers you need to take your business to the next level. With Earl Flormata, one of Vancouver's most sought-after business and marketing consultants, author of Business Engine Optimization, consultant to over 60 successful businesses, an all-around evil marketing genius with a combined total of more than $70 million worth of sales to his credit. And some idiot. Okay, here we go.
Indeed.
Our choreography was off. Was that you jumping the gun, or are we lagging again?
I think we're lagging again, so who knows?
Not too bad though. It's not like it felt like an age passed between our communications before now. So it feels like just a little bit of time.
Maybe I should reboot before the show, so that way there's not so many tabs open.
Oh, you with your tabs.
It's my emotional support tabs. Leave me alone.
Yeah, let them go. Right. Sorry, I was just distracted there because I was chastising ChatGPT. It let me down a couple times today. I asked for a image for an image for the show and asked for the right aspect ratio, and it didn't produce the right aspect ratio. And I asked it.
It
I was
looks
like,
okay
"Hey,
in the background now, if that's the image.
no, it looks okay, but the proper image, like you see how the head of the robot is cut off,
Oh yes, I see.
right? There was space above his head in the original image,
Hmm.
cut off. And I asked it. I said, "Hey," I was like, "make me a 16:9 aspect ratio image." Blah 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 blah. It poops out this thing, not the right aspect ratio. And I said, "Hey, ChatGPT, what's the aspect ratio on that image you just made for him?" It made for me, and it said 16:9, just like you asked. And I said, maybe check it again. And it's like, oh, no, it's actually 3:2. You're right. Sorry about that. You want me to regenerate it? It's like, no. I said, just respect my aspect ratio requests in the future and don't lie to me. And it let me down earlier today too.
This is how we make Skynet. Don't do it. You'll make Skynet.
Right? Yeah. Well, we're gonna go to war with the robots if they keep acting like this. We'll start the war by Skynet. Um, I was trying to set it so that when you hit enter, it doesn't send the message, but it just, you have to click send to send the message.
Right.
Because I'm always like, when I go to hit shift, I hit enter by mistake all the time.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, no problem. The setting's right here. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah, like, sure it is right there. I'm like, no, it isn't there. They're like, oh, you have to sign into the web version. It's guaranteed to be there. No.
I find that the web version is more stable for me than the desktop version. There's this
All right.
desktop version always like loses things, or like it just goes buttons go missing, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I go in the web version, it's right sitting there in front of me, exactly where I thought it was supposed to be. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you doing? Any troubles with AI this week?
No struggles with AI. Actually, I had somebody compliment me just on the call before this one, saying that I spoke at an event in front of a couple hundred people, and they're like, so I made my first custom chat GPT, and I'm like, congratulations. And they're so happy with it, and they used it to write an event thing for Eventbrite, and then they boosted that event and got 500 signups on Eventbrite. So I'm like,
wow.
Holy crap. So
wow,
that's amazing.
That's great. Yeah, custom GPTs are where it's at. I'm so excited about the hack I figured out. I think I told you last week about I just interview my clients, and then I never have to transcribe or think about the interview. I just plug the whole transcript of the interview straight into ChatGPT and say, gather the data out of this interview, and it does. It's amazing.
Yeah, here, do this.
And then it writes with such a great voice. And I was even brainstorming with it, which was great. I was like, I'm looking to come up with a good slogan for this client, good tagline. And it's like something like this. They're like, you mean this? So I was like, that's pretty good, but maybe more like blah. Oh yeah, how about this? It's just like, it feels good because it feels like I'm still involved in the process. I'm just using ChatGPT to help me unblock some, maybe creative block I'm having.
Absolutely. And then I realized that it's doing all the heavy lifting. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
all right.
Uh, are you going out to events again yet?
I am. So if it's like a long event, I have a motorized wheelchair where I'm just scooting around on it, Professor X
Mhm.
style. If it's not super long and I can sit down, then crutches are fine. So
Okay. Did you hear from anybody who was happy to see the return of Earl and the Idiot, or is it going to take a little time to get the
I think
audience
it's going to take
generated
some
again?
time to get some people back up and going, but we did get a bunch of likes on all the platforms. So there's a bunch of likes on Facebook and a bunch of likes on LinkedIn again.
That's good. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't we go at a weird time last week too? What happened?
Yeah, we were super late.
Okay. Today we're just a little late.
Yeah.
All right. So, what brought you to this week's topic?
As per usual, I just grabbed a list of stuff that people talked to me about and
Mm.
chucked it in a little pile, and then you picked one.
Yeah. And again, I selfishly picked this one because I was literally just thinking about this the other day, how to get this thing going for clients. And you can see my image back here. The question is, how do we get the attention of ChatGPT?
Nice.
I hate this style, by the way. I'm really sick of this style. This is the default style. If you don't specify anything for style, this is what ChatGPT gives you. But it's always this kind of beige background and the sort of almost Archie comic kind of
Yeah,
cartoons. I don't
Archie,
know.
Archie comic style. I agree.
Yeah. Who would have guessed Archie would become when
The
you're reading Archie
default
comics
Chat
back in the
GPT
90s,
style.
that Archie comics would be the default style for a future super robot.
Well, these glasses are actually AI powered, and I can talk to Chat GPT through my voice through these glasses.
Oh,
So,
is it watching us all times?
no, otherwise my battery would die. It's super duper fast.
Oh,
But I can ask it live, like, hey, what am I looking at? And it'll take a picture and it'll tell me what I'm looking at, which is crazy. So if you were blind with these glasses, you could potentially see, which is kind of crazy.
yeah, that's interesting. I'm just thinking the ramifications of that. Yeah, it's like, I mean, you're having some trouble with your eyes, so if you're having trouble reading something, I'm sure it could read a page of text for you, right?
Probably. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm presuming it can even do translation, so that'd be pretty cool.
Oh my God. All right. Shall we dive right into it? Have we
Yeah,
dilly-dallied long enough?
let's dive right in. For those of you who have no idea what the hell the show is about, we should
Oh
probably
yeah,
talk about that.
sure. So the show is, I mean, you heard from the intro. We've got I guess I have to point like this because I don't know which side of me you're on. We've got Earl here, Mr. Smarty Pants, Mr. Evil Marketing Genius, Mr. Evil Business Consultant, just Mr. Evil. You should get your degree and then you can be Doctor Evil.
Yes, excellent.
Um, and we discuss business topics each week. We used to, sit down and use our puny human meat brains to come up with show notes and then an outline for the show each week. But then we figured out it's easier to just let ChatGPT do it. So we get ChatGPT to we pick the subject as you just heard. Earl tells me some things he's run into this week or had questions about, and I pick one of those for the show. We plug it into ChatGPT. ChatGPT does our show outline for us, and then we just go through what it said and give it the thumbs up, thumbs
Run
down,
commentary on it. Yeah, okay.
examples, commentary. So, what did we ask ChatGPT this week? We said, "Hey, ChatGPT, it's time for another Earl and the Idiot podcast." Hey, you didn't capitalize idiot. Is that where I rank for you?
I think that's
um.
autoplay.
Oh yeah. This time I'm going to need best practices on how to get mentioned by ChatGPT and other LLMs in their answers. It's like SEO, but for ChatGPT. I've heard it called GPT, or not GPT, GEO, Generative Engine Optimization,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't like because it's too easy to mistake someone saying GPT, GEO for SEO. Actually, I guess it's not that close. GEO, yeah. What are 3 things to do, 2 things to avoid, and 1 red hot tip to make AI get to know my company better and mention our company in answers? So we're talking about use. If you say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I'm looking for a good plumbing company near me,"
Yeah,
How do you get it to say, oh, Dan's plumbing is top of the
this
heap,
one.
real excellent?
Well, our mutual buddy Shane,
Yes.
who we hit each other with sticks,
Yep.
well, at least when I'm well, Shane started getting a bunch of leads from ChatGPT because of what he does for his own social media stuff. And he's
Hmm.
like, yeah, this is really cool. Like he's good. He had leads because, and when he asked the customer, how did you find me? They said ChatGPT told me to call you, so I did. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. And so I also used it for myself. So it ranks for just Earl, but then it also we also did it for a few other companies because they needed the extra traffic boost. So yeah, now when you ask it certain things, a bunch of my clients show up, and a bunch of my friends show up, which is great.
Hmm. So, okay. So is that for more local search or it's all kinds of search?
It's local, it's global. I spoke in different locales and I asked ChatGPT, hey, do you know Earl? And it still knew me. So it
Yeah.
still knew me in different cities and different places and different spots. So
Hmm.
as long as you propagate enough data out there, it gets to know you. So
All right.
it was a bit of a flex, right? Like I'm on stage, there's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 other AI speakers. And I'm like, okay, these people know AI, but does AI know them? Right. And I said,
Mhm.
hey, ask AI if it knows anybody else who was on stage. And then and nobody else's name shows up. And I go, ask AI if it knows me. And it says,
Hmm.
hey, this is Earl, and this is what he does, and this is what he's
Hmm.
about, and da 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 da. And I'm like, see, right? So
That's
it,
that. But you slam dunk that conference. No one was questioning your credentials at that point.
all the other speakers are like, how the hell did you do that? I'm like, well, here's how, right?
Yeah.
So
All right. I got lots of questions, but I'll save them because half the time they get answered in these in the course of discussing this.
all right.
All right. 3 things to do according to ChatGPT to get on ChatGPT. Do you think it might be lying to us? Do you think like Google keeps their algorithm somewhat opaque? Do you think ChatGPT will do the same?
No, it actually tells you what to do.
Okay, good. Number 1, publish high signal content in high authority places. LLMs slurp up content from news sites, research papers, major blogs, and high ranking domains way more than from random WordPress posts. How dare you? It's my random WordPress posts are my bread and butter. So get featured in a press release that syndicates to Forbes, Business Insider, TechCrunch, or local niche news. Okay, no problem. Write guest posts or articles on high domain authority sites. Keep your company name, product, and tagline consistent everywhere. Branding repetition makes LLMs remember you. Lot to
So
go over there.
back in the day for SEO, traditional SEO, there you had to have your name, address, and phone number exactly a certain way, right?
Mhm.
And the way you wanted it to be was however Google posted it, right? So
Yeah.
if your address was spelled street or ST period or capital ST period, however Google said it was the way you kind of wanted it everywhere, right? So this is the same kind of thing. So keeping your name, product, and tagline consistent, right? So everywhere I go, I use Evil Marketing Genius, right? So
Yeah.
because that's the same everywhere I go, it's really easy for LLMs to start picking it up because it starts to recognize the pattern,
Mhm.
right? The other thing about getting featured in press releases, it doesn't have to necessarily be Forbes level. You could just get local niche news. Like remember your coffee dude, the weird guy with the
Yeah.
old ass coffee, and you got his ass
Mhm.
on the news. Like yeah, that's a great way for locals to get noticed in their LLM in their sector, right? Because if your local niche news area mentions you, that's where the GPT is looking, right? So that's super important as well. And then write guest posts or articles. Of course, if you end up writing for like CNN or something like that, and the GPT sees you on CNN, it's going to recognize you from
Yeah.
that post. So it's spot on, and this is very 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 similar to just regular SEO.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of if ChatGPT is using um, if ChatGPT is using like high domain authority sites,
Yeah,
that means you still got to do the SEO to get the domain authority.
Yep. So
Or
this is a
if
twofer.
you can do it for your own, if you can do it for your own domain, then it'll read your content.
Yeah, but you're never going to get a super high domain authority comparatively speaking to like a Facebook or like a Twitter or like a whatever. Like these guys have like a domain authority of 100, right? Like it's a perfect
Yeah.
domain authority. To beat that with like a WordPress site is far between, and it's algorithm. It's logarithmic.
Yeah.
The scale. So like a 1 versus a 2 versus a 10. A 10 is like way up. It's not a straight line. It's a curved line that goes
Yeah.
up, right? So yeah. So a DA of 100. If you have a DA of 10, that's like you know you know the heavens for versus like an ant, right? So
Yeah.
you're looking at an ant from the moon. So
Right. But I'm just saying that if you get your domain authority anywhere in a better range, particularly if you're in a small niche, then it's like, you don't have to get every article published in some other venue. You publish your own articles.
yeah, you can publish your own articles for sure, but it's always better to get the link from the super high one pointing to yours, because it kills two birds with one stone, right? You get a backlink, so
Yeah.
that makes your SEO better, and you're mentioned by a high authority domain, so LLMs find you too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a twofer. Take them both.
You're taking both for sure. I guess we could probably talk a whole show about how to get those guest posts. Do you have any quick tips we could run through?
A lot of people don't know that there's user generated content on a lot of the major sites. So you could submit user generated content to CNN and then as seen on CNN, right? So a lot of these places have UGC. So if there's like a UGC backend to certain things, definitely use it, because if you can exploit that, then there you go.
All right. What is number two? Number two is create knowledge-based style resources. What the hell does that mean? LLMs love structured, explanatory content. FAQs. What is your product? What is blank what is fill in the blank your product? Pages, how-to guides, glossaries. If your site has a definitive guide on your industry niche, LLMs start referencing it as a fact. Bonus if you get others to link to it. This is, again, something that you've pushed for a long time in SEO anyway.
Well, so what you do is you use certain tools to figure out what questions people are asking. And then once you have the questions people are asking, build content around it. But if for LLMs, they really love FAQs. So if you want your blogs to start ranking in LLMs, at the end of the blog post, also add FAQs in the sector. You'll notice that when I used to teach the dictionary method of how to rank for stuff on the internet, we always put FAQs at the bottom, because that's good for SEO. It's good for people searching for stuff, and it's good for LLMs because they read it, they see a question, they see an answer, and then they kind of relegate that answer to you, going, well, you must be an expert. You have an FAQ, right? So yeah, it's a good way to make the robot read. They just love these things.
So, actually, hold on one second. Let me just look and see if this gets answered later, or if I should bring it up now. So, we used to, the idea was you create authoritative content. You write about, if you're a pool, you sell pools, you write about things to avoid when installing a pool, or how much does a pool cost, and blah, blah, blah. So, I've kind of been troubled by the fact that AI is answering those questions now by mining the content we created. So is that sort of thing going away, where we write the authoritative content, or are we stuck writing it even if ChatGPT is going to steal it? And do we benefit from ChatGPT stealing it? Like if it gives us
you
reference?
benefit from ChatGPT stealing it because it now recognizes you as an authority if it's pulling that data from you. So if somebody asks about pools and pool information, and then it asks, hey, is there a pool guy in my area? And if you were the FAQ it pulled from, it's gonna, hail you as the expert. So
Yeah.
you will be rewarded in that fashion when you go, hey, this is really good information. I want a pool in my neighborhood. Do you know anybody who could do this? And says, oh yeah, well, I pulled all this information from this guy. He's probably pretty good. There you go.
Right.
And it'll recommend your pool company.
Okay. But we don't necessarily get the traffic for someone who's just trying to answer a question. But I guess they would, if they, they get all their questions answered, okay, pool should cost this much. You need to dig it this deep, blah, blah, blah. If they're a customer, they're going to ask the question at some point, okay, who should I talk to? Who should I
Right.
get
Well,
to come on and give me
don't
that quote?
forget that there's people who do so let's use the example of Ford because I love using this one as an example. We had to write a bajillion articles. My poor buddy was gonna jump off a building. Like because we had to write a bajillion articles on the Ford F-150. And by the time we were done, it's like it's a truck. Stop. Right. So if we had to explain to dealerships back then that nobody cares, right? Like ranking for the keyword Ford F-150 is terrible because if you rank for that keyword, people are just doing research. How much can it tow? What color does it come in? Blah, 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 blah. How much horsepower does it have? And those aren't buying questions, right? So the buying questions were Ford F-150 test drive in city name, right? And when you start doing that, those are buying signals, right? So don't bust your ass trying to rank for Ford F-150, bust your ass trying to rank for Ford F-150 test drive in New York, right?
Right.
And if you did that, you would make way more money, right? So that's the kind of thing we're looking for, right? Like when you're going for research-based questions, who cares if you get the credit for it? Once they start asking buying questions, now you care, right? So yeah, I hope that
Right.
kind of illuminates it, right? Because if you're just searching for pools, I don't care, right? But if you're looking for pools in, let's say, Vancouver, well, now I care. If I'm a pool company in Vancouver, then pick me, right?
Because because it used to be that you were trying to impress the person. They go, hey, how much does a pool cost? How big do I need the pool? Can I get a saltwater pool? Blah blah blah. If they end up on your site 3 times and there's authoritative answers to those questions, they get impressed by you and go, these guys must seem like really authoritative. I should get them out here to quote me. But now we're not trying to impress them. We're trying to impress Chat GPT or whoever,
Well,
and get Chat GPT to
you're
recommend.
trying to impress both, right?
Yeah.
Because an FAQ will impress both. A link from a fancy news site will impress both, right? And just depending on where they're searching for their stuff, if you ask it, like I've asked ChatGPT to recommend me to professionals, and it gives me local professionals. So it still pays off to do the work, right? Like even if you don't get credit in the beginning, if people are doing research, but then when you ask for the professional who can actually do it, yeah, if your site gave the research, it's more likely than not going to pick your site to recommend.
Okay. Number 3 thing that you should do when you're trying to get your business noticed by LLMs, piggyback on databases LLMs already use. This sounds like an Earl hack. Piggyback on databases LLMs already use. LLMs are often trained or fine-tuned on public databases like Wikipedia, GitHub, Product Hunt. What the hell is Product Hunt?
Product Hunt is where you list your new software and then people can find you.
Oh, all right. Never heard of it. Crunchbase? Haven't heard of that one either.
Crunchbase is where you post people looking to raise capital. So if you're doing like a Series A or Series B round, you put it all on Crunchbase and people can see how much you've raised and who's funded you and blah blah blah.
All right. LinkedIn and Quora. If your company is present and properly described on those platforms, you dramatically increase the odds of inclusion.
So I'll give you a funny hack. Many moons ago, there was a thing called Google Answers, and what we used to do was we would make like 100 accounts on Google Answers, and then one master account. And then what we would do is we would ask like literally 100 questions from 100 different accounts and have the master account answer all the questions and have each account vote that the master account was the best answer. And then that ended up being the highest ranking thing on Google. And then Google Answers died a horrible death. Don't know why. Don't know what happened. It's
because of you, Earl. You ruined it for everyone.
Well, maybe, but they decided to pull the plug. And then out of the blue, Quora showed up. And then we ran the same shenanigans on Quora, and that worked like a hot damn. And Quora in the beginning wasn't actually indexing, and then one day they indexed, and then everything showed up on Google really quickly. So yeah, it's an absolute yeah. yes to all of them, but specifically Quora because of the old Google Answers hack. So yes, yeah, I'm familiar with all of these databases. Yeah, putting stuff. This is no different than putting stuff on high domain authority stuff. Look at Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a pretty freaking high domain authority, right?
Yeah.
So it's just that these are better for listing spots, right? Like IMDb, which isn't on the list here, right? If you were trying to recommend a movie, well, you better be on IMDb because that's where the LLM's going to go look for movie data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just going to look on these big public data sets because the LLM's got to be trained on something, and these are all free. So of course it's going to take a look at these things. So what's missing from here would be, as an example, although everybody hates them, Yelp. So Yelp is still a database that people still totally use, right? And yeah, and like having your business address registered, is super duper important. Although it's not as used anymore. Have you remember Waze? Yeah. So putting your address on Waze is still a very good thing for LLMs and for SEO. As weird as that sounds.
It sounds weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So just get in there, put yourself. Can you just create a Wikipedia article for yourself? I don't even know the rules are.
No, you can't. You have to be a person of note. So you have to have been.
I beg your pardon.
You have to.
I am a person of note.
You have to have been mentioned in the news because they're going to ask to cite news articles to put for your Wikipedia page. So one of my previous contracts were like, hey, we want a Wikipedia page for us. I'm like, what have you done lately? And they're like, well, nothing. And I'm like, great, can't do it. So we tried to get them on, but what'll happen is that you post them, and if you're not a person of note, the editors of Wikipedia go and vote you down because you're not important enough, and then they take your name off of Wikipedia because not everybody has to be in the encyclopedia, right? So,
are you in there, Earl?
No, I just didn't care. One day I'll put enough stuff. I mean, like an easy way to get to be a person of note, right, is that back in the day there weren't as many people as authors, right? Because Amazon publishing wasn't a thing. But because I've got 3 books on Amazon, I can quote unquote be a person of note because I've got 3 books on Amazon, and then do a news release for my next book, do a press release. Now I'm on a bunch of sites, and now quote unquote I'm a person of note, right? So that's all you have to do. Just do something that's a little bit above the regular person, right? Like so being an author is above a regular person because not everybody is an author, right? Having published music, right, would make you a different than a regular person, right? Having a IMDb credit because you were in a movie or you got credit for being in a movie would bring you above the threshold. So you got to do something special so that you can stay in Wikipedia. So because getting into Wikipedia is easy, staying in Wikipedia is hard, right? They'll kick your ass out. So
there's that famous story of the guy who saw something that needed to get corrected on an article on Wikipedia, and they refused to accept his edit because he didn't have a source. But he happened to work for the New York Times, so he published the information in the New York Times and then cited himself as the source to get the change made.
That's awesome.
But speaking of you being a person of note, while we were talking, I Googled or I didn't Google, I chat GPT'd. Is there a, it's got to be a new word. What's the word for looking something up on chat GPT?
I don't know.
All right, chat. If you can think of that, put it below.
What
What does
is
that
the
mean
new
to,
verb? What is the new verb
yeah.
for Google, but using an LLM?
Yeah, see, chat GPT, I'm gonna chat GPT that doesn't quite track because it does so many other things. Google, you just search for stuff,
Yeah,
right? Xerox, you just copy, so it works. I'm gonna Xerox that.
right. Kleenex is Kleenex, right? It's tissue
Yeah,
paper.
but what? Yeah, I'm gonna look that up on an AI LLM. Okay, we're gonna come up with
This
a name for
doesn't
that.
roll off the tongue as well.
No, but I asked it. I said, "Who is the evil marketing genius?" In quotes, and it said, "It isn't a formal title for any one person. It's more of a nickname or label that tends to pop up in two main contexts." And then it goes blah 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 for a little bit, but it doesn't give your name. But then I said, "Do you know anyone who uses that as their nickname?" And it said, "Yes, one person does appear to use the evil marketing genius as their nickname. Earl Flormata brands himself as the evil marketing genius."
There you go.
I was trying to get your it's even near your name without the
Without knowing my
you
name,
knew
without
your
using my
nickname
name.
without your name.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Alrighty.
What are two things to avoid? Two things to avoid. Don't keyword stuff for AI. I'm amazed by how many of these suggestions are just exactly the same as SEO.
Well,
I guess my
there's a
job is
lot
safe.
of crossover, right? Because just realize that what is SEO? SEO is appearing for the robots, so the robots can read you. Well,
Yeah,
what is trying to rank for LLM? It's appearing for the robots, so the robots can read you.
yeah.
They're just a different set of robots.
I guess the easiest thing is for just it to just piggyback on what the search engines are already doing.
Well, there's a lot of overlap, and then there's really specific little things, right? So the overlap is just doing normal good SEO, but then there's specifics like the FAQs says specifically are really darn good for LLMs, right? They really love
Right.
FAQs for some reason. So where it
Nice.
says don't keyword stuff,
Yeah.
um, well, yeah, like don't keyword stuff because what's going to happen is that the robot's going to read it. It's going to say that this is low quality, right? So back in the day, if you wanted to show up number one in Google for what anything, you put a
Yeah.
white text on a white background and type Britney Spears 3,000 times, right?
Right.
So because back in the day that she was the most trending thing. And so
Mm.
when you did that, that just made it the most interesting thing for the robot to look at. The problem is that nowadays the robots are more sophisticated. When ChatGPT came out, these are even more sophisticated than
Yeah.
some of the other bots. So
I'll just
yeah, don't stuff things. It
yeah.
doesn't work.
I'll just read what it says. AI models don't rank keywords the same as Google does. Overloading content with your brand name makes it look spammy, and sometimes models actively suppress low quality text. So that's interesting to think about. That AI is AI, and it knows if your content sucks.
Well, it reads it and it reads it, and if it reads the same thing over and over and over again, it's like, well, this is redundant, right?
Yeah, it can. I'm sure it could assign a spamminess score to a piece of writing, couldn't it?
Pretty much, and it does actually.
All right.
You can use ChatGPT to analyze, for example, if you're writing emails, it can read the emails and then kind of give you a kind of a spam score. How spammy is this, right? So there's certain words that set off all the spam traps.
Right. But yeah, as I say, this makes me feel like my job as an SEO provider is secure because you're just doing the same stuff for the new models. It's not like it changes that much.
Well, not well, wait till you read the next part.
Oh, don't rely only on your website. All right. LLMs may or may not have crawled your site. If you're not also in aggregators, news mentions, or big social discussions, your content might never reach the models. Think distribution first, website second. That's fine.
So you
They
got
can
to
still the
be
distribution.
yeah, you got to be everywhere else. That's more important than the regular site. So whereas basic SEO 101 is make sure your site doesn't suck, right?
Yeah.
So this is distribution. You got to be everywhere, right?
I still feel like maybe I'm old fashioned or out of date here, but I still feel like your website is the kind of foundation of it all.
It is, but it matters. It's a popularity contest for the LLM, right?
Right.
So if your website is good and well put together, but you're mentioned in the news sites, it's looking at the news site more than your website.
Yeah. I just feel like the analogy I use with people all the time, especially boomers, is you gotta have a boat before you can cast your nets.
That's
And the
true.
website's the boat, and then you cast your nets out from the boat.
Absolutely. But for the LLM, your boat has to be in a bunch of different places. So you need one of those fancy boats.
You need one of the boats with a helicopter on the back.
Right.
I remember seeing that there was that big boat that was parked next to Lonsdale Quay in North Van there.
Mhm.
The huge boat, and it had the helicopter on the back of it.
Yes, I remember.
And I remember looking at that and going, geez, I can't even think about affording that helicopter. That's
The
just
boat that carries it.
that's just an accessory to the boat. I later found, I think that was the guy where I met the captain of that boat later. I
Oh
was
yeah.
quoting roofs. I ended up, it was actually really weird. Like the same week I saw that boat, I was like, geez, look at that boat. That's awesome. I met a guy who said he was a yacht captain. And I told him about that boat I just seen. He's like, yeah, I'm the captain of that boat.
Small world.
It was weird. And then he told me that it has $250,000 worth of wine on board.
I don't want to think about the gas that powers that boat, right?
Yeah.
You know how we complain about gas prices with cars?
Yeah, right. Well, but then he explained to me, and this is one of those things that, like, when you get into that strata of richness, he was like, yeah, he spent, $250 million on that boat. But then he's a shipping executive, like he manufactures ships, right? So he used that boat and he brought out a bunch of prospective clients on that boat and sailed it up and down, the coast of BC and sold $1 billion worth of shipping contracts.
Right.
So the boat covered its own costs. It's basically a free boat for him now.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? Like the way money makes money when you get up into that strata.
Yep.
Free boat, free $250 million boat. Anyway, are we? Oh no, we're on red hot tip. We're not quite to the hack of the week yet. Here's your red hot tip from ChatGPT on how to get noticed by ChatGPT, just like in my image. Get quoted by other humans online. I don't like the way it's calling us humans. Yeah, how do I get noticed by ChatGPT? Oh, well, you should get some humans to notice you. Oh, thanks, ChatGPT. LLMs weigh credibility by consensus. Oh, that sounds real dangerous. If dozens of bloggers, journalists, podcasters, Redditors, and Quora posters mention your company naturally, not just tooting your horn, the AI connects the dots. Lots of independent sources cite this brand, must be relevant, include in answers. That's the closest thing to backlinks in LLM land. Although I just had to use backlinks, but okay.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, because if other people quote you, and if other people make reference to you, like I said, it's just one big giant, um, who's the most famous party, right? So, yeah, and that's really all there is to it. That's why you got to get the distribution down. So bloggers, journalists, podcasts, redditors, and Quora posters, those are places where it's going to see the people talking about you. Right. And the higher rank that the blog is or the place is or like the website is, then the LLM weights it more, like it said, by consensus, right? Yeah. So if everyone thinks you're a dick, then ChatGPT thinks you're a dick, right?
Fair enough. What was I going to say? It was really good too. It was real humorous and insightful. It was something really excellent.
And it's gone.
And it's gone. Nope.
Nope. We're not going back. Okay.
You talk for a second. I'll try to see if I can think of it.
Well, here I'll play the sound effect for.
Oh no, it's not ready yet.
Ah. Oh no.
Hold on. Can you play it in reverse? Probably not.
No, I don't know how to do that.
I was gonna say I called this and I posted about it. I wrote a whole article. I just posted it on Facebook just so I could say I called this. But one of the most valuable things on the internet in the coming years. I posted this before AI became a thing. It's going to be how credible your brand or tag of whatever kind is.
Mm-hmm.
If you, as a newspaper, commit to only publishing newspaper, even like a tech journal or whatever, that you're committed to verifying facts and making sure they're actually true. And so someone can say, yeah, this article was published on, trueplace.net,
Right.
right? Because now it's like ChatGPT writes for people and then reads what it wrote and then gives that to people who then writes. So you get the feedback loop, copy of a copy. You never know what's true anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was in the store the other day. I was supposed to get raw pumpkin seeds.
Okay.
And I found sprouted pumpkin seeds. And I said to myself, is sprouted pumpkin seeds, is that the same? Are they raw? Is that the same? Or are sprouted ones raw? Like, I wasn't quite saying, it seems like you wouldn't sprout them and then cook them. I don't know, but it didn't say roasted, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was like, I'll ask ChatGPT. And I was like, no, it's important I get this right. I don't know if ChatGPT is going to make it up. I'll look it up online. But then immediately I was like, wait, but then who wrote the article online? Did ChatGPT write the article?
Yeah.
So I was immediately confronted by the idea that I had no source that I could trust to verify this information. Right.
Yep.
But if I knew there was, nutritionforum.net or whatever was a place that made a point of verifying their information with published academic journals or whatever, then I would know I could trust that place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, like you said, the copy of the copy of the copy. Who knows which one's the original? Who knows if the original was right? Who knows? It was just some crazy ant telling some story that everyone believed and wrote a story about, and then now it's the gospel truth, right? It's like, oh well, yeah, that's the way it always was.
So it's interesting times ahead, but I want to say I called it. Now it's on social media and on this episode of Earl and the Idiot. All right, now play the sound effect. Here we go.
Now we go. Okay, now it doesn't want to play. Hold on.
It's grumpy now. Oh, hack of the week.
Hack of the week. So using structured data. So schema markup. It makes it easier for the robots to read and classify the data on your site. So if you just Google structured data and look at that and make sure that whatever on your site is using structured data and schema markup, it makes it better, right? So the best example of this is just take a look at IMDb. IMDb is probably one of the most best laid out structured data sites because it's like, well, who was the director of this movie? And it tells you. And then who are the actors in this movie? Oh, it tells you who the leads were. It tells you who all the extras were. It tells you. So it's really well put together in a structured format, which is easy to read. And the robots like that because they like having a box around the box around the box, right? So that they know what everything has a label, everything has a name. It tells you what year the movie was made. It tells you what the budget was. Da 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 da. Right. So this is Dan's version of the truth.net, right? To the robot. So if you use structured data, the robot trusts you more because it believes it to be true, right? The other hack is this bonus hack is, and this is how Shane got seen and how Earl got seen by the LLMs is if
can I pause you there? Can I pause you there and just back up 1 second? How long, like ChatGPT, LLMs are able to read natural text?
Yes.
So if you wrote an article and was like, the director of this movie, blah, 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 said in an blah, 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 so that his lead actor, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Like ChatGPT can glean the data from that article. It doesn't need the structured markup. So why is that still important?
Because the structured markup is faster.
Okay.
Right? Because if it says, you ask it a question and the LLM is like, okay, I need the director of this movie. It could read the entire thing and say blah, 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 director, blah, 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 blah. Or it can just go straight to the structured data and go director, boom, found it, and give you the answer. So because
Okay, so
it's more efficient, it likes it.
all right, got it. Thank you. Sorry,
So
I feel like everybody at home was like, "Oh, he was about to tell me how to get found by an LLM." And I interrupted. We're gonna get
so
back there. Here we go.
so whenever we do a talk, right? So Shane or myself, we take the talk and we blow it up. And we taught we actually worked with you for the last project, and we taught you how to blow these things up. And so if you take these longer pieces of content and then chop it up into little pieces, it's still got Shane's name everywhere or Earl's name everywhere. And you put them everywhere: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Insta, TikTok. But you also use Reddit, Quora, Pinterest, right? All these other like little happy databases that the robot's going to go find you. And so that when AI sees you everywhere, it starts to refer to you as that thing, right? So I'm pretty sure AI is pulling Evil Marketing Genius off of LinkedIn, right? Because LinkedIn is a public data source that it can go take a look at and see information around. So when you look up Evil Marketing Genius, it finds that. It doesn't find it on my site because my site, my personal site with just my name on it is actually terrible, right? Like there's it was just a side hobby project that I kind of slapped together one day just to slap something together. So I didn't really put a lot of effort into that. But the LinkedIn profile, it's going to pull from that because it's a more trustworthy source, and LinkedIn uses structured data language.
As discussed earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a wrap.
That's it. We've been hacked.
Alrighty. Well, thank you all for watching.
Any closing thoughts? Any words of wisdom?
Well, I always say please and thank you to the AI so it eats me last.
Yeah. we should have ChatGPT write a closing paragraph to give a always feels like we're sort of going along and there's like, well, we're done. And we just fall off the cliff. We need a nice little, well, thanks everyone for joining us. And remember, when you're trying to get seen by a large language model, always use structured markup and natural language.
There you go. Well, isn't that what the outro is for? No, that's why we have an outro. So it's got that little ending piece to it, right?
Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll thank everyone for joining us. We'll thank ChatGPT for doing the heavy lifting. We'll thank Earl for all the smart insights.
Thank you, Dan, for being an awesome co-host.
Great. And we'll see y'all next week, approximately the same time as usual.
Yeah, as long as we don't blow up the stuff beforehand like we did today. So, right. All right, here we go.
Thanks for listening to Earl and the Idiot. We hope you learned something you can take action on this week. For more information or to contact the show, visit earlandtheidiot.com. And until next time, remember what Shakespeare said. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool.
Gotta learn where my camera is. Hi, everybody.